Hello. We are going to be modding the original Game Boy today and turning it into the ultimate DMG. Originally I was going to use this Play It Loud DMG. All it needed was a clean and a new battery cover, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Could I? No. So I settled for this modded one I was given a little while back. We are going to be fitting a new backlit LCD screen with a touch sensor brightness control, and putting it into quite possibly the most beautiful shell I have ever seen. Inside the kit you will get a screen, an adhesive foam pad, the video converter board which takes the signal from the DMG and outputs it into the new screen, and it has the controls for the touch sensor. There's a bag with some ribbon cables and the touch sensor, a pad and a glass lens. Yes, obviously the new screen is much smaller, but we'll talk about that later. Speaking of the screen, it is the familiar transflective display we've been using on the Game Boy Color mods and the Game Boy Pocket mods. Transflective means not only can it emit light through its backlight, but it also reflects it. Let's start by disassembling the Game Boy. To do this, I'm going to be using the toolkit I always used, and I'm going to be bringing back the WoW stick. Remember, affiliate links to all of this will be in the description, and hugely support the channel at no extra cost to you. So I'll start by WoW sticking the tri-wing screws from the back of the unit. Be careful not to lose those pesky little screws. Lift up the front piece from the bottom and disconnect the ribbon cable. Then take a Phillips screw bit and remove the 4 screws from the motherboard. Lift out that board and it's time to move on to the front piece. Remove approximately 20,000 Phillips screws from the LCD, which is no match for my WoW stick. Lift out the board and be careful of the adhesive and try not to lose the screws. I'm going to need to remove this backlight, but obviously you won't have to do this. I'm going to use my brand new soldering iron. This here is the TS80, which uses a USB-C cable to power it, which is absolutely incredible. I'll start by applying some flux, tinning the soldering iron and removing the wires. Be sure to remove the screws from the ribbon cable. Lift up the screen, slide out the backlight, and I'll save this for later. Your screen will obviously look like this. Go ahead and bend up these legs. They are holding the ribbon cable down. Just heat up the solder and pull with some tweezers. The other side isn't soldered down. Now to remove the screen. I'll set my soldering iron to a lower temperature to prevent burning the ribbon cable, so I could maybe use it in the future. But unfortunately I still damaged it. Luckily the pads were absolutely fine. The second ribbon cable went a lot better, but realistically it's a pretty impossible task if you've never done it before like me. We're going to remove the plastic screen bracket by popping out the clips and then clean up the whole motherboard with IPA. Next, take the largest ribbon cable from the bag and line it up with the white ribbon that connects to the bottom board. Then secure that down with Kapton tape and bridge the pads. This is going to take quite a lot of time, use some flux and be patient. Before doing anything else, we need to see if this thing even works. Plug everything in, chuck in some batteries, and boom. Now it's time for that shell. This thing by far is the most beautiful shell I have ever seen. This thing is a custom Metroid Shell which has been made and designed by Retro Modding. It's incredibly high quality, really unique, and it includes everything you need. It comes with a pack of screws and a custom screen lens. Drop the new screen lens which has been included from the kit into the shell and line up the screen. I used my phone torch to check where the display area was and ensured that it was centered. Then I secured it down with some Kapton tape. The included adhesive pad needs to be stuck down on the back of the metal. This will prevent shorting the video board. Plug in the touch sensor and the screen, and then attach the ribbon cable from the LCD board. Gently lift the whole thing up, exposing the video PCB, and secure that down with none other than Kapton tape. Fold the touch sensor over and tape it down too. I'm going to be using brand new buttons which have been supplied to me by Retro Modding, which they have actually custom molded themselves. They've even got their logo in the start and select button. I'll also be using brand new rubber contacts to ensure reliable button presses. Set the board down and screw it back in. Set the cart shield back in place and screw the 4 screws in. Reattach the bottom PCB, plug in the ribbon cable and close it up. To finish off the whole thing, I'll be using spanking new battery contacts, which will ensure reliability and it looks nice. Chuck the batteries in and we're done. So, obviously this modification is absolutely incredible. The screen comparison isn't really even worth talking about. It's night and day, it's like a different console, but not so much that it's not original and not authentic feeling. I mean, obviously it isn't original, but from a feeling perspective, it doesn't feel too far from the tree when you turn off the backlight completely, which you can do just by tapping the screen lens using the touch sensor control. This is it now with the backlight completely off, and it's very reminiscent of the original Game Boy. You've just got a far superior contrast, and you have the function to just turn on the backlight when you come into a darker space or out of direct sunlight. So amazing. The green LED, I'm not a big fan of. It was on the mod originally. It's just a regular LED. It's way too bright, but it is still pretty cool and goes very well with this Metroid Shell, which, as I mentioned before, is incredible. I don't know how they've managed to do that decal. I think it's all been painted on and laser painted on, but it just feels three-dimensional and it's absolutely stunning. It's a very expensive modification. I have the totals right here. So the screen comes to $49.99. Realistically, that's the only thing you need. I could have reused all of the other parts that was already in this thing. The screen comes with the lens and all the pads and all the ribbon cables. The buttons were $2.99. You don't need those. The rubber contacts were $3.99. You don't need those. The battery contacts were $1.99. You might need those. The shell was $49.99. So for the shell, you could get a screen, and the DMGs are $20 to $30. So that all in dollars is $138.95, and in pounds is about £106.20. So quite a lot of money, but realistically you only need the $49.99 screen. But I wanted this video to be about the ultimate DMG Game Boy, and I definitely think we've got that. I mean, look at this. We've got the EverDrive X7. I'll leave a card to my review on that. I don't have Metroid on here, which is quite funny, and it's going to upset some people because obviously this is a Metroid Game Boy, and I'm using rechargeable batteries. You can get Eneloop ones, and I think the IKEA ones are quite decent, but with the rechargeable batteries, you just chuck them into the little battery charger, fill them up with juice, and put them in your DMG, and it will last you a very long time. So, although it hasn't got a rechargeable mod, the batteries are a pretty good alternative. I honestly can't even get over how lucky I am to have such an awesome thing. I'm still doing a giveaway of the Game Boy Advance SP I built with the IPS screen, so head over to my Instagram for that. But yeah, this one I'm going to hang on to for a while. I think it's really awesome. So let's play a little bit of a Game Boy game then. So the viewing angles on this screen aren't too bad, to be honest with you. I mean, I can still see it from all these angles, but the reflections are going to mean that you can't. So I don't really know what the point of the viewing angles are. It's not like you're ever going to be playing it down here, but a lot of people and people like talking about it, so I thought I'll do the same to, you know, stay credible. So let's play a little bit of Super Mario Land. I have to say, with the new buttons and button contacts, the response is just unreal and it feels brilliant. So I think it's only 10 quid to get all those replaced, including the battery contacts, so it might be worth doing. But yeah, I mean, look at this thing, it's just stunning. Very hard to do through the viewfinder. I'm not 100% sure what the battery life is going to be like. Obviously, you can turn that backlight down or off, which is going to contribute massively to a slightly longer battery life. One more little talking point. Obviously, the screen is smaller. Now, I just know there's going to be so many comments talking about the fact that the screen is smaller. It's really a personal preference, so all of you are entitled to your views. This is not an original Game Boy anymore. This is a modified one, and it's a modified one with a Mark I screen in it. There's not been many people who have made replacement screens, complete replacement screens for Game Boys. Obviously, there's a bunch of mods you can do. You can chuck a backlight in there and bivert it, and you get a pretty good result, but you're never going to get the same result as an actual modern LCD screen inside it. Ben Ven has obviously made a bigger screen, but again, that one does seem like a somewhat downgrade in technology compared to this sort of LCD, but it is a beautiful modification. And in fact, it's so big that you have to cut up the shell quite a lot. In the future, there will definitely be 1:1 scale size drop-in screens, which probably won't even require any soldering. But for now, this thing is a pretty, I don't know, you have to be quite good at soldering to do it. Not amazing, because I'm certainly not amazing, but definitely relatively competent with a soldering iron, and obviously, yeah, the screen is going to be smaller. So those are the sort of sacrifices at the moment if you want to build yourself such a stunning piece of equipment. I hope you guys... Oh, one thing I don't like is the fact that I'm touching the screen all the time to turn down the brightness. It's just getting loads of fingerprints on it, but to be honest, you could extend it up or have it on the side or whatever you want. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Check out Retro Modding in the description below, and I'll have the tools in there as well. Everything will be affiliated to try and help the channel. If you guys have enjoyed the video and you're new, please subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye.